on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the J&A podcast. Today I am Aaron from the A of J&A, and on the other
I'm doing good. So I guess only today we're gonna be our original selves. That's great.
Yeah.
Just for today. Tomorrow, different story. We're gonna change our identities tomorrow. I'm just tooting your horn there, bud. Alright, so we got a couple of things that we're going to be doing. Before we get into the main portion of what we're going to do, we have to talk about a particular elite quarterback by the name of Russell Wilson.
Are we actually talking about that in this podcast? I didn't think you were going to read it. Oh,
yeah, I was just like, you know what, let's just throw it in here. So, I'm pretty sure you know Aaron, Russell Wilson. 4 years, $140 million with Seattle. They got it done at the last minute. According to his deadline, anyway, like the last minute.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel, man?
Sources are saying that the only reason he gave a deadline is because he didn't want it to bother his off season and the regular season. Like he didn't want drama to be in the locker room.
Yeah, and I actually like the fact that they went ahead and took care of it pre-draft. Just got it out of the way. But how do you feel, man? How do you feel about the deal and Russell Wilson, man?
Okay, well, I'm gonna start off with how I feel about Russell. He's the top quarterback. If you disagree with me, I'm sorry. I like me some Russell Wilson. The thing about the deal is he's worth every single penny. But for a team like Seattle, giving big contracts for quarterbacks is a really bad thing, which I hate to say because my Falcons did it to Matt Ryan.
And my Packers did it to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, the goal, or a player's goal, should be to get to the Super Bowl. And when you're getting 4 years, $140 million or whatever, that's going to stop you from getting to a player's main goal, or winning another Super Bowl, better yet. I mean, I know money's great and all, but I mean, a team should want a championship for their fans. And giving big contracts like that, you just can't do it. So, I mean, I like I said, I think he deserved every penny of what he got, but at what cost would it cost him? More than cash.
I guess I'll speak on it for a moment. I'm pretty sure a lot of people who watch know that I think very highly of Russell Wilson. I only have 4 quarterbacks that I consider elite, and he's one of them. So, of course, he's going to be worth every penny and then some. Like you said, though, this is a salary cap league, and there's only so much to go around. So when your quarterback eats a big chunk of it, it kind of makes you think about how the rest of the team is going to be constructed. But then again, that is totally up to the front office. That's not Russell Wilson's problem, because he just got paid. So the front office, they better think about it. I mean, they gave him the contract. Seattle was an overachieving team last year. We'll see what direction they go in this season. But I'm happy for him. And he is worth every single penny. Easily. Mm-hmm. But that's not why we're here. We don't care about people's pockets. Well, yeah, we do, because we're talking about the draft, and that could influence people's pockets. But me and Aaron are doing a joint mock draft. So it sounds a little strange, but I'll be glad to explain. So it's kind of like if one person were doing a mock draft, except it's 2 people doing it. So basically, Aaron's going to be picking for the even-numbered teams, and I'm going to be picking for the odd-numbered teams, which means I'll start off with the number 1 pick here momentarily. It's kind of like a snake draft for fantasy football. So we're basically going to be picking like not necessarily the best players available, but we're going to be kind of picking for different teams, obviously, from like a big board of like potentially 50 players. And we have our reasonings for why each of these players go to the teams that we give them to. So I say we just go ahead and dive right into it. So at number 1 overall, the Arizona Cardinals, I have them taking Kyler Murray. It just seems like it's going to be the pick. And if Cliff Kingsbury, you think this is his guy that's going to fit his offense, this is probably the only opportunity he'll have to influence that becoming a reality. So I just gave him the standard pick right here. That's unlike a lot of people's mock.
All right, pick number 2, San Francisco 49ers are going to be picking up Nick Bosa. He did have an injury. There was speculation of reasons that he didn't play. He confirmed that it wasn't actual injury, better yet. And just, we've seen what he can do on film, and all direction is of him as being a top 3 pick, and this is who I would see picking up.
Yes, absolutely a good fit for the 49ers. At number 3 overall, I have the New York Jets selecting edge rusher, not quarterback, edge rusher Josh Allen to potentially sack Buffalo Bills Josh Allen. On tape and stat-wise, he definitely increased his sack production. He's kind of like an Anthony Barr type of prospect. I understand like the whole comparing players is kind of tricky because like you want them to be their own guy, but if I had to make a comparison, that would be a guy that can drop back in coverage pretty well and rush the passer at a solid rate. And the Jets failed to get Anthony Barr in free agency. That kind of backfired on them, so they could be getting one for a far cheaper price.
Alright, coming in at number 4, the Oakland Raiders are going to be selecting inside linebacker Devin White. Now there's, obviously we're going to all have opinions on this. The reason I have them selecting Devin White is because he is one of the best linebackers in this class. Him and, we'll get to the other linebacker in a second, but him and them have very similar stuff, but one of them is a better tough guy, one of them is a better speed guy. It's just all around, but I see Oakland. I feel like this is the best pick for Oakland. They can go get a Patrick, so they could do all this. But I mean, if I'm helping the defense, I would start it with that linebacker to be the communication of the defense, and I feel like this year I definitely like to do that.
Ah, yes, the linebackers, the quarterbacks of the defense, as they might say. And by the way, just a disclaimer, this isn't like our official mock draft. This is kind of just something we did for fun.
This is like, especially once we get to about top 8, top 10, or even lower, based on what the other person chose. This is not who we agree on necessarily. This is just, if this player's off the board, we had to use this guy. This is can't miss. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we're going to do our official mock drafts, of course, before next Thursday. We just kind of did this for fun, like if we were GMing for half the league, basically. But at number 5, Tampa Bay. And by the way, we don't predict trade downs either. But this is a team that could potentially trade down, but I'm going to give them offensive lineman Jawan Taylor. A very dominant run blocker at Florida. And he went up against some of these better pass rushers that you're going to hear come off the board from various SEC colleges. Like Josh Allen, we just talked about. Jawan Taylor only gave up 1 sack in his entire career at Florida. And I know people are like, well, in the NFL it's going to be different. Well, it's good to know that in a dominant defensive conference he only gave up 1 sack. DeMar Dotson for Tampa Bay is getting up there in age. And I feel like Jawan Taylor should be like an investment pick for Tampa Bay moving forward.
Alright, I like it. Going in at number 6, the Giants are going to go ahead and get their quarterback of the future. They're going to be picking up Dwayne Haskins. I like this pick. Dwayne Haskins, people believe he's not, speculation is that he's not the best quarterback in the draft. I'm not saying if I disagree or agree with that, but like I said, Kyler Murray is now off the board. They're going to be wanting that quarterback of the future. Will he start? Probably not, because as JJ once said, they love their Eli Manning. So this would be a great opportunity for him to be able to grow, and I feel like that's just I can see Dwayne Haskins
It almost seems like one of those picks that's definitely going to happen, like based on everything we've been hearing.
Yeah.
At number 7 overall, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars going with defensive lineman Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver, the main issue, I guess, with some people is that he's undersized. I've heard that about a lot of defensive linemen, and let's just say most of them, like Aaron Donald, turned out to be alright. Just alright, you know. But Ed Oliver, a very dominant player at the University of Houston, tested very well at his pro day. He ran a 4.71 as a defensive tackle. Apparently, even though he didn't participate at the combine to a big degree, teams wanted to work him out as an edge rusher. Speaks to how athletic he is. And Jacksonville, you know, they are a little older on the defensive line with Calais Campbell and Marcel Darius still there, and I think he could be similar to Tampa Bay, just an insurance pick. I think teams need to start thinking ahead too in this draft, and I think Ed Oliver would be a perfect pickup. The rich get richer.
Ooh, okay. All right, at number 8, Detroit. You know all about that team, don't you?
I do, man. Very, very good team. They got some good players.
All right. At number 8, Detroit is going to be picking up defensive tackle Kenyon Williams. He's available. If he was available at this in real lifetime, I don't care who you are.
Just take him.
Just take him. I mean, can you necessarily he's shown that he can be a dominant force in the NFL? I don't like to use those words in the sentence sometimes, but I mean, if anyone has, it's him that has shown me that he's going to be a force to reckon with in the National Football League.
Yeah, I will say this about Quentin Williams just real quick. There's an argument to be made that he's the best player in the draft. There's definitely that argument. So the fact that he's here at 8 because of some weird circumstances we have going on, like, if that were to happen, Detroit, even though I don't like the Detroit Lions, you have to think about taking them. You just have to.
No matter what team you're going to be playing with, you're going to have somebody that's going to play. That's going to be trying to hit Aaron Rodgers, JJ. Coil back.
hey, man. Green Bay better get those offensive linemen to toughen up. But speaking of toughen up, we got the Buffalo Bills toughening up the trenches a little bit more with defensive lineman Rashawn Gary. A lot of questions about, you know, the injury. He was one of those injured players. Can he have the production at the next level? You know, there is questions to me. Very good run stopper on tape. He's one of those disruptive players. You look at a guy who just got paid in free agency, Trey Flowers. He's not a double-digit sack guy. He only had 7.5 sacks, but he's very disruptive, and it creates opportunities for the other guys to get in there. You look at Jadeveon Clowney, who's a freak of nature. A lot of people would say he's an absolute stud and one of the better pass rushers. He's never had a double-digit sack season, but it opens up opportunities for J.J. Watt and other guys to fly off the edge and come in and make big plays. And I think Rashawn Gary will be kind of similar, not to those guys, of course, but he will have the same type of impact to where he could eat up blocks and just help create opportunities for Buffalo's pass rush. And he'll be good against the run, which is something Buffalo has been terrible at the past few seasons.
All right, I'm gonna say this probably 2 more times throughout this. This is not our official mock draft, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna just confirm it again.
Yeah, we're just putting it out there.
All right, at number 10, based on the circumstances, Denver, I feel like they really need a receiver. I was back watching 2 of them. Either one, I feel like is a really good pick, but I'm gonna have to be picking up obviously DK Metcalf. This guy is a beast. He had an amazing combine. I know JJ, you know the numbers by heart. Can you give me some numbers? If not,
all I'm gonna say is 4.33 40. He had a sick vertical jump as well in the lower 40s, and dude, that's all you need to know. He's just an absolute freak of nature, and the bench press, he killed it. So
Yeah, so I mean, boom, that's another player that if he's available and your team needs a receiver, you highly suggest to take him, or I would highly consider it.
DK Metcalf right there, one of the better talents in all the draft. Cincinnati is up at number 11 for me, and I'm not saying they'll necessarily go quarterback at 11. I think personally they'll go defense, but based on the way things are going, I'm just going to go ahead and give him Drew Lock from Missouri. I'm not the highest on him, but there are things to like about him. He can throw with anticipation. He's got a pretty strong arm. Nothing too crazy, not compared to guys over the last 2 years like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, but he does have a strong arm nonetheless. He is drawing comparisons to Jake Cutler, which, hey, he was a starter in the NFL. Not going to talk too much crap on him. But Zach Taylor, their new coach, was the Rams quarterback coach. If Zach Taylor is a good quarterback coach, he'll be able to groom Andy Dalton's potential replacement, because in my opinion, I think it's time to move on from Andy Dalton. You're not winning anything with him. And this roster, I like some of the players on it. I'm higher on some of the players than others, but they have a lot of work to do as well.
Yeah, that was a really good explanation. Alright, so right now we're going to be at pick. Ooh, Mr. Green Bay.
Yes.
So, based on the board, my fate is in the hands of the Green Bay Packers. Or their fate is in my hands, better yet. So I'm going to be having the Green Bay Packers selecting edge Montez Sweat. This is a player that's been talked about since like right after, say, the NFL season, but even before that. He's a beast. I know there's a little bit of complaints on him, like there's going to be a lot of people because scouts just don't know how to like a player.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but the way that Green Bay's rocking right now, play out, and based on the way they're moving with their defense, there's a couple good picks they could have went here. They could have went linebacker, anything. But I see them getting defensive Montez Sweat.
And for the record, if this happens, I would not be upset, because you can never have enough. It's kind of like with corners, right? You can never have enough corners. To me, you can never have enough like edge rushers or rotational pass rushers, inside or out. So I wouldn't be mad at this pick at all, personally.
Thank you, JJ. I mean, why?
Hey, I'm just saying, I would not be mad at all if that were to happen. I have the pick of the Miami Dolphins, picking at 13. Of course, the rumors about them tanking for 2020 for a particular somebody. Not a fan of like tanking for a particular player, but tanking in the sense of we're not going to be competitive. I completely understand. Anywho, with the 13th overall pick, I have the Miami Dolphins selecting offensive lineman Jonah Williams from Alabama. There's an argument to be made that it's him, Jawan Taylor, and another guy personally that I'm kind of high on that we'll hear later. That you can make the argument one of those three are probably the best offensive linemen in the class, but Jonah Williams is well polished. He can play guard or tackle. Apparently teams are higher on him being a guard. We know he played left tackle for Alabama last year. The Miami Dolphins are pretty weak on the interior, and they just lost a right tackle via free agency to the Denver Broncos. So this would be filling in a need and also protecting veteran quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick, who they gave a 2-year deal to this offseason.
All right. I like it. So, look whose fate is also in my hands. It's going to be the Atlanta Falcons selecting at 14. Now, something that you said earlier is that just like corners, or just corners, or just like corners, defensive end or a position that you can never have too many.
Right.
Especially when the Atlanta Falcons only have 4 on the roster. So,
Yikes.
with that said, the next one available that I feel, I would have went somewhere else if it wasn't because we only have 4 ends on the roster, actually. Actually, it might be 5. No, it's still 4. It was 3 until we picked up Adrian Claiborne. The Atlanta Falcons would have stuck in defensive end Quentin Farrell. If a better one would have fell, I would have easily picked one of the other ones that's been taken before this guy. Not to be mean, but obviously you'd rather have the better out of the person. Like no hard for Clinton. But I don't have nothing against him. I'm gonna need to. I'm gonna have to see something. I don't feel like he's gonna be a guy that just makes if he did come into the Falcons, would be just a beast from the start. Like everybody, like a guy like him, I feel like would need progression. You know, and with good coaches, that's obviously possible. So don't take that in a bad way towards him. I feel like he's gonna be he would be a big year 2 player. And that's not bad, you know, because that's when you want your players to start getting better, progressing. But you know, I would have went somewhere else, but based on a certain situation, I would go in.
I do like Farrell, by the way. The only reason, I hate to use the term hot take, but really the only reason he's slipping is because a lot of the other guys tested better athletically. The production's there from Clemson. He's an absolute beast. And if the Falcons did take him at 14, which I don't think personally would be a reach. I know a lot of people have him going in the like 20s or even the 30s. Wouldn't be a bad pick, personally.
Like I said,
go ahead.
This is a mock. This isn't our official mock. This is not where that's not who I actually have going to him on our regular mock.
Yeah, and same thing. Yeah, we're just gonna keep iterating that because I already know some of you are probably pissed out there, but we don't really care. 15 overall, I have the Washington Redskins. This is a team who they could go in a lot of different directions. You can make an argument they could even go quarterback, even though they traded for Case Keenum. They can maybe look at a receiver, a pass rusher, but based on the way things are playing out, I think the first corner has to come off the board. And I got Greedy Williams, man, going to Washington. They have an Alabama fetish when it comes to selecting players from Alabama. Like 2 years ago, it was Jonathan Allen. Last year, it was Deron Payne. This year, they're going to have to go to the opposite side of the rivalry between Alabama and LSU and take Greedy Williams. Josh Norman isn't getting any younger. Their cornerback depth is okay, but you cannot be afraid to upgrade at the position. And he's a guy who has a lot of upside. Good coverage guy. You know, needs to work on his technique just a little bit. But he has a higher ceiling compared to the other defensive backs. And I think... Yeah, and I think... you know, working with a guy like Josh Norman could probably bring something out of him. You never know.
I like it. Alright, so at number 16, the Carolina Panthers will be selecting. Now, this is kind of crazy that you said that. This is a team that also I feel like could go in many directions.
Yeah.
But based on, you know, Cam Newton coming off his shoulder energy and everybody is riding him right now, so, you know, if you're going to ride somebody, why not just give them somebody to ride with? And I'm going to be giving them wide receiver Marquise Brown. This was the receiver that I was complimenting with the Broncos. I feel like that would be a really good pick too, to the Broncos to Brown to the Broncos, but I ended up picking Metcalf. If Metcalf ended up falling here, this would have went down for Carolina in my eyes. I mean, unless, you know, it's just all, obviously I'm not the GM, but yeah, because we don't really know what he thinks is best for his team. But I mean, if you want, you know, work on that offense, I guess, you know, because you got McCaffrey, Cam Newton, DJ Moore from last year. Why not go ahead and get another first-round receiver and Marquise Brown?
Hollywood Brown right there going to Carolina. So I have the New York Giants pick via the Cleveland Browns in the Odell Beckham trade. They're picking at 17 overall. The Giants, they've been pretty suspect at the linebacker position for a while. I think we're going to give them Devin Bush from Michigan, the inside linebacker. The better coverage guy out of the two Devins in the draft, Devin White and Devin Bush. Athletically, they tested very similar. And I feel like he's already a polished product when it comes to being a coverage guy, and he's a solid run defender as well. Of course, there's still room to grow. Just because someone's a polished product doesn't mean they can't refine their game or improve. That just means right now they're probably a little bit better for certain teams, and the Giants need a lot of help. They're more than just a quarterback away, and I think getting a captain for your defense like Devin Bush could be the move.
No, I'm just kidding.
I know it almost seems too right.
Yeah, I'm just playing, man. All right, going to 18, another team that you know very well, Minnesota. Based on some current issues, you know, you want to get that run game going. The passing game is so strong, but you know, you would expect to see more from that big contract to get Kirk Cousins. I'm gonna go ahead and give Minnesota, which I think was probably one of the offensive tackles that you're very high on.
Yes.
Andrew Dillard.
I love this pick.
Yeah, and yeah, me too. But obviously, as a lot of people know, never been the biggest college person in my life. So tell them what you personally like about Dillard.
All right, so I've been. Of course, there are going to be guys that can give him higher praise than me, but I've been like looking in depth with offensive linemen since maybe 2016 or 2017, I should say, when I started getting back into the college football scene. But okay, that's a 3-year window. Andre Dillard in pass protection, in the drills and on film, has the best footwork I've seen. And there have been some good offensive linemen that come out in the last 3 years, even at the tackle position. And to me, he has good footwork and pass protection. Now, run blocking, I am a little concerned. But as a pass protector, I think he could be a guy that gives Kirk Cousins something he really can't say he's had a whole lot, and that's a clean pocket.
All right.
But yeah, I really like this pick for Minnesota. Speaking of picks that I like, 19, I had control of the Tennessee Titans. If this happens, boy, it's going to be a good pick. I have them taking tight end TJ Hawkinson from Iowa. Iowa has 2 really good tight ends coming out. This is one of them. He's the guy that's known as the better blocker. Not the greatest athlete in the world, but he can get it done. He can absolutely catch the ball as well. This Tennessee team found their identity kind of a little too late in the season, but they like to run the ball with Derrick Henry, like the power run game. This is a guy who is a good run blocker at the tight end spot. He can catch the ball as well. You can even line him up at fullback if you want for your heavy sets. Delaney Walker isn't going to be around forever, so this is one of those insurance picks and a guy that could still play right away. You could run some 2 tight end, 2 receiver sets, and I like it. That's all I can really say.
All right. I'm going out to number 20, Pittsburgh. I have them taking cornerback DeAndre Baker out of Georgia. Pittsburgh, you know, they have their corners, but too many corners. Or you can never have that many corners. Even a corner like DeAndre Baker is on the board right now. Why not go ahead and take him? Baker was ranked number 1, you said, right, out of all of Georgia?
Yeah, he won the defensive back award, the Jim Thorpe Award at college.
Which is really, which is great. And, you know, Pittsburgh fans who really love this pick.
Yeah, my personal opinion, good scheme fit, and there's an argument to be made. He's probably the best corner for right now, which, even though they moved on from 2 big players, Pittsburgh did, they feel like they're in a win-now mode, so this is a guy that can help them immediately. Here we go. We're getting to the nitty-gritty. So at pick 21, I have the Seattle Seahawks, not in my franchise, but in real life, selecting safety Taylor Rapp from Washington. So he's going to stay in his home state. Seattle runs a lot of zone coverage. So does the University of Washington. So he's not really going to miss a beat. He's not going to feel like he's learning a whole new defense. He gets to come into a comfortable environment and situation. Listen, it's going to be hard to fill in the shoes of a guy like Earl Thomas, but this is a guy who can play. You're asking a lot out of him if you think he's going to be able to fill in some big shoes. But he could be a guy who comes in, just plays well, and has the potential to grow even more.
Alright, I like it. We're doing really good with this. Number 2, we got Baltimore. I have been taking Edge, Brian Burns. This was somebody, I can't remember what team it was. They're strong right now, but, you know, this was somebody I was going back and forth with when it comes to, I think it was Green Bay, possibly.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, Brian Burns, you know, a lot of upside. This is another player that scouts love to, hate and love at the same time. Um, I, I just this would be a really good pick for Baltimore. They lost players this season. They lost 4 big players, and when you lose big players, you gotta get them back, or you get not them back, but you gotta get players. Just hopefully get us better in the draft. This would be a good start.
Absolutely. At pick 23, I have control of the Houston Texans, and I'm going to give them a guy that's not really in a whole lot of first rounds for mock drafts, but he should be, in my opinion, talent-wise. That's defensive back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson from Florida. Houston lost 4 defensive backs in free agency, and it's something that's not being talked about enough, personally. I know they need help on the offensive line. Personally, I like the depth of the offensive line class. Not saying you can go into the 7th round and find the starter, even though you could. Never know these days. But I like the depth up until about the 3rd round, potentially, to find a starter, knowing how weak their offensive line is. But anywho, they lost 4 defensive backs. They lost Tyrann Mathieu to free agency. Andre Hall retired. Kevin Johnson they cut, and he ended up signing with Buffalo. Kareem Jackson they didn't re-sign. He goes to Denver. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has experience playing mainly the free safety position, but they did line him up as strong safety, nickel corner, and sub linebacker. So there's versatility there. And with Justin Reed in the secondary, you could have a nice young secondary or safety tandem of Justin Reed and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Oh. I'm just playing. Alright, so my bad for losing track. We're going to be at number 24, Oakland again, via Chicago, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Via the Bears.
Right, so I'm going to have them select. Yep, I'm going to have them select from the Khalil Mack trade. I'm going to have them selecting cornerback Byron Murphy. This is a corner that has really, really good upside. Some players are like. I know this is a player that you want to be able to help me out with a little bit because I remember we discussed this a little bit about him, and you said that. What do you know about this guy?
He fits the scheme to me perfectly. He's a good zone coverage corner, good size. He didn't test athletically as well as some thought he would, but the technique definitely is already there. Good in zone coverage. That's really all I have to say. He's just a good fit for the team.
Oh, yeah. Alright.
Alright, I have picked 25 from the Philadelphia Eagles, and let's just say with this pick, the rich get richer. I have them selecting offensive lineman Cody Ford. I don't know what you think of Philadelphia. He's already strong on the offensive line. There's no need, but trust me, there is. Jason Kelce almost retired last year. Jason Peters could have possibly retired last year. At left guard, there's still kind of a hole at the left guard position. They're strong everywhere else on the offensive line but left guard. And this is
guy, but what I'm seeing from this?
What's that?
We might be seeing the downfall of Philadelphia's offensive line, what they're known for, coming very, very soon.
Yeah, it could be, and this is a good insurance pick right here because he has experience blocking for some good college quarterbacks, Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. Can play guard and tackle at a pretty high level, and scouts feel the same way. And, it's a stretch to say, oh, he's going to be a replacement for this player or that player, because we're talking about 2 potential Hall of Famers in Jason Peters and Jason Kelce, but he can definitely come in right away and play left guard. And if they decide to move him to tackle or center, I think he'll be able to make the transition because of the versatility shown on film and at his pro day.
So we're going to be going to 26 Indianapolis. This guy is still on the board, which is crazy in my opinion because how much I like him, but I do see why teams, hell, even in our normal mock drafts, he possibly will fall down this far, which is sad to see. But defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence, I told you I like Dexter Lawrence. He's shown me a lot of what he can do in Clemson. This is a guy I actually did watch. This is a guy that I actually have seen him play, Clemson, because of the big games that they've been in. And he showed me everything that I would want to see from a defensive tackle. He has power. Hell, even for his size, he has a little bit of speed. And I feel like he could be a dominant force in the NFL. But I mean, whoever picked him this late, man, I feel like this is a good pick based on certain situations why he fell that short. He had that injury at his combine, which is never good in front of the scouts. I would rather have an injury at a pro day than have an injury at a combine, because the more people are watching. But anyways, this would be a really good pick for Indy, who's getting better. Who has Cap, who has really good upside.
All right, Dexter Lawrence, the pick there. I have the Oakland Raiders via the Amari Cooper trade. This is their third and final first-round pick. I have them selecting tight end Noah Fant. They lost Jared Cook in free agency, and you can't be afraid to upgrade when it comes to receiving weapons for your quarterback, Derek Carr. Noah Fant, really great athlete. He can block a little bit. I know there's this reputation that he can't block because TJ Hawkinson was a great blocker at Iowa. He can block a little bit. He gets comparisons to Evan Ingram, but personally, at least Noah Fant can block. Evan Ingram really can't. But I like the pick here for Oakland. I think this would be a very good selection if he falls.
You actually like the pick?
I sure do, man. I like it. No excuses for Derek Carr.
All right, number 28, the LA Chargers. This guy is still on the ball. Oh, crazy, man. I have the LA Chargers taking defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, also out of Clemson. This would be a toss-up. I had this toss-up with Indy too, but I just told you I'm too high on Dexter. whoever needed him, whoever needed the tackle or the defensive tackle first, he got him in my eyes. That's just how I feel about Dexter. Christian Wilkins. This is I've seen him play too. What's the main word that I can use to describe him, or what would you use to describe him?
There's a lot of words. I would say productive.
Yeah, I mean for Dexter, I would use power. Like a word like, I guess I would just use productive. It's like that's somebody that is going to come out and do what you drafted him for, which is always good. This is a safe pick in my eyes. Whoever picks him is a safe pick. You don't have to worry about, putting, wasting the first or blah, blah, blah. This would be a safe pick in my eyes.
Absolutely. At pick 29, I have control of the Kansas City Chiefs. You're probably expecting me to fix what's probably going to be the 32nd ranked defense in football. That's a joke, but it could happen. But I got them selecting center on the offense, of course, Garrett Bradbury. They just lost their center Mitch Morse to free agency. And I think Kansas City, they've already shown they're going to prioritize offense a lot more. So why not just fill in the hole that you already have now at center? He moves around really well, a great run blocker. Pass protection, he looks solid as well. But of course, at the NFL, we'll see how he handles the matchups. Going to be playing some really talented fronts in the AFC West. An intriguing pick and a pick of need for Kansas City.
All right. Going at number 33. Oh, at 33, God. At 30, Green Bay got a trade. I think it was last year they traded out of the first round with New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think that's how they got it. I'm not quite sure. Right.
With the Saints, they gained that
I'm
first.
not quite sure how to say this guy's name. Nasir Adderley. How do you say his name?
Oh, Nasir Adderley.
I feel like, for a team that's working on that defense, which you've already seen improvement last year, obviously as a Packers fan, you want to see more, but from somebody that's not a Packers fan, you saw what got put in, and that's scary to see. Green Bay, just work on that defense. What we call it doing. They acquired safety Adrian Amos, and now they're about to pick up Adderley, which would be a really good pick.
Absolutely. And now we are down to the two teams that played in the Super Bowl in Atlanta. First, we're going to start out with the loser, the LA Rams. Have them selecting defensive tackle Jerry Tillery from Notre Dame. The defensive line class is very stacked. The fact that he barely makes the first round is pretty wild. He's a good pass rusher. I think he's a pass rusher at heart, especially on film. But you can see he's pretty balanced at all assets of the film. A very good player, and it doesn't look like they're going to bring back Ndamukong Suh. So this is going to fill in a need. Rumors, of course, of Michael Brockhurst potentially switching to nose tackle. So now you have Jerry Tillery, who people view more as a pass rushing big guy, and Aaron Donald, while you have Brockhurst eating up blocks on the inside. Could be a good fit.
You know, before this ends, I'm just gonna say that it's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, man.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, 32 New England Patriots. Man, Gronk left. That's such a shame. I mean, what will they ever
terrible.
do? They're gonna draft a safety. They're gonna get Jonathan Abram.
There you go.
They're gonna go get a damn tight end in round 5, and it's gonna be a superstar. So don't judge me.
It's 100% happening.
It's happening. Round 4 or 5, they're gonna get a superstar tight end that's gonna blow out the league. I mean, this is gonna have to happen, and y'all are gonna have to sit back and watch it happen. I'm sorry, Jonathan Abram's the best pick possible here for the Patriots. You're gonna have somebody that's gonna be possibly retiring soon. That you got an extension the Kurt supported, but you got to just start putting players, man. You can't, and based on what I said about the tight end, man, 5th round. Don't judge me. Just trust me on that.
I think I know what tight end they're gonna draft too. If I had to take a guess.
Do you actually know, like, what thought?
If I had to guess, yes, I think I know like 2 guys they could possibly draft.
Sure.
Well, I'm just gonna base it on last year's draft, so they can either draft LSU's tight end, Foster Monroe. Remember, keep in mind they drafted their quarterback from last year, so they'll totally draft a tight end from the same school. Of course, they have a thing for Georgia players now, so they'll probably look at Georgia's tight end, Isaac Nada. Who cares that he didn't have a good combine? In New England, he'll be forced to play or else his ass is grass.
Wait, what's his name?
Isaac Nada, the Georgia tight end.
Yeah, he didn't have a good tight end, did he?
Yeah, some Georgia players, like Elijah Holyfield as well, he didn't do good at the pro day, but New England will take them all, and they'll end up being Super Bowl MVPs, so it doesn't matter. Don't judge it. It's true.
Alright, I like it, man.
Alright, so you ready to close things out?
Yep, I was born to do it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Anything you disagree with, I bet you ain't disagreeing with anything. If this is just a joint line. Probably none of us agree what we had to do today, based on our picks, especially after like round, hell, even, you never know. Just know that this is, our official mock draft will be coming very soon. But I guess I'm going to say this, if you have anything that you disagree about, come on the show and get destroyed. That happens, we have somebody back out,
We have people who leave the set too.
Yeah, dude,
Imagine.
They get scared.
The spotlight's too big.
That's great. I'm almost kind of glad that happened 2 times.
The second time I couldn't even let you guys see because it was just a big clusterfuck, so I just left it the way it was.
You did end up uploading that, right?
Yeah, the first time it's up there, but the second one I couldn't put up there. That was just, it was just wild, and he kept repeating himself over and over.
Oh, you didn't end up posting it?
No, I told you I wasn't going to.
Oh, my bad, dude. Alright, well, that was crazy. Okay, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed. We'll talk about this after this set. Yeah, peace out.
Peace.